να μας πει για το LASIK. Δηλαδή, πώς αντιμετωπίζουν μια υψηλή αμετροπία κάνοντας LASIK και αν την προτιμάει. Και στο τέλος να ακολουθήσουν ερωτήσεις και να ψηφίσουμε, να πιστούμε, να δούμε πώς θα πιστούμε, να αλλάξουμε το 50-50.
Good morning, dear moderator, dear friends. I'm very happy to be here again. I see many friends here. So this subject was very difficult for me, even funny because I'm a fan of implanting phakic IOS, but this time I have to defend it and I have to be ruthless to pull us. So I'm sorry about it. So most of the people who visited Fyodorov Institute have seen this photo maybe. He was jumping on the glasses. At that time maybe we couldn't do it, but today we can do it with several methods, or one method, or we can combine several methods together. So our first preference is LASIK, if not suitable PRK with or without mitomycin. And of course they are not suitable for LASIK, we go for phakic IOS. For presbyopia we go for multifocal, or some very high myopia we can use clear lens without multifocal, only with monofocal implantation. But the problem with the phakic IOS, when you mention to patients, first thing is the public awareness is very low. They don't know anything about it because it's the implantation rate is very low. So you have to tell lots of things to them. They go to other doctors, so they don't want to be implanted because it's an intraocular lens procedure, so they're afraid. We don't afraid as a doctor, but they're afraid. And it's very expensive. At least in Turkey, it's very expensive, not maybe in Europe. So I guess the patients in Greece or in Turkey cannot afford it very easily. Okay, so the refractive surgery should be safer, technically reliable, with the best results, good predictability. So there are some FDA results with these custom-made treatments. I want to show only the high myopic results, 20/20 better. You see in 1 month, 3 months, 6 month results, 84% of patients can see 20/20 or better in this study. These are over 6 diopters of myopia. And also in astigmatism, laser has very good result. And I have to mention that if you implant phakic oil or multifocal, doesn't matter. If you cannot end up with zero, you have to use lasers. Why? Because the lasers are more predictable than intraocular lens surgeries. So, for excimer laser treatment, we use very high technologies. Of course, 3-dimensional eye trackers, iris recognitions. We can use standard treatments, wavefront treatments, topo-guided treatments, lots of things. Even today, we use it for keratoconus patients with the cross-linking. This is, most of the phakic IOS were withdrawn from the market. We have to know it. We have maybe only 2 phakic, one is anterior chamber, one is posterior chamber left. There is no more. That was one of the lenses withdrawn from the market, phakic 6. This is the best anterior chamber lens. You see the result. And if something happens, the complications are very serious with these kinds of lenses. This is Iris Glow, most preferable lens in the world for phakic IOL surgery. This is my own case. You see very high volt here. So the problem with the posterior chamber phakic IOL, you can only measure the white to white, and you have to estimate sulcus, which is very difficult. The company, the ICL company, gives you the results with OrbScan or Pentacam most. If you use another device like IOL Master, you may have something like this. So what I did, I exchanged this lens and I implanted a smaller ICL for this patient. Especially for hyperopic patients, this is a very big problem. This is, I will show you later, that's accumulation of viscoelastic under the iris. This is PRL. It was also withdrawn from the market, decentralization of PRL. And There were lots of publications with spontaneous dislocation into the vitreous cavity. So that was withdrawn from the market also, which was a very nice lens. I implanted many PRLs. We didn't have any problems, but it was withdrawn from the market. This is the labeled complications of phakic IOLs. You see, there are lots of things. IOP rise is the most important thing. Pupillary block, secondary glaucoma, non-reactive pupil. We saw in some cases, some colleagues' cases like this. And you may have, of course, intraocular infection, endophthalmitis, macular edema, retinal detachment, many things. And the complications may be related with the sizing, as I mentioned before, wound construction, insertion, early post-op, late post-op things. And ICL volt is very important. If you have less volt, you may cause cataract. If you have too much volt, high volt, you may cause high intraocular pressure. And of course, you have to be careful about the surgery because you have crystalline lens. So you shouldn't damage it either with your diamond knife or with any kind of instruments inside the eye. If you, and loading process is, little bit has a learning curve for standard surgeons. And if you do not trust the rules coming from the company, you may have problems like this. So you have to be very cautious about it, and the education is very important. And you may have upside down ICL. If you switch it inside the eye, you may have corneal edema, so it's very important. You have to take it out and implant it again. And elevated pressures, anterior chamber depth is very important. It's not like cataract surgery. So if you touch to the crystalline lens, or if your volt is not enough, you may have this anterior subcapsular cataract. That was, I think that was my own case. This is another case from other colleagues. And you may have toric ICL axis misalignment. And of course, you can have halo and glare. These patients are very happy, but they always mention about night vision problems because the optical zone is very small, like 5.5 to 4.6 to 5, if you have larger diopters. For hyperops also. So they complain about night vision. This is a pupillary block. And there are some atypical findings like pupil ovalization, very rare. Iris transillumination, pigment. So that was a very interesting case. Many years ago, I presented in one of the ICL meetings. We had this thing under the ICL. This was 1 month after the surgery, 2 months, 2 months again, you see here. So I think that was because of viscoelastic that stayed in the under the ICL, because the hyperopic version of the ICL is older. Now we use new versions for myopia, but the hyperopic lenses are older, so they keep the viscoelastic underneath, so you have to be very careful about it. You see, at the beginning it was like this. See? Then it comes like a small point. And there are lots of publications about some ICL replacement, endothelial cellulose, cataracts. These are also related with the cataract. So coming to LASIK, patient selection is very important, of course. You have to select correct patient, 18 years or older. 21 is safer, I think. I always mention the families when they come with the 18 years old kid. So you have to select correct patients. Systemic disease, diabetes, especially very important. Potential visual acuity, always important in all kinds of refractive surgeries, of course. And these are the limits of FDA, -14 6 diopter of astigmatism, 6 diopter of spherical equivalent of hyperopia. And for PRK, again, -12. But it depends on the keratometry readings. Because if you have a keratometry reading after the surgery under 34, you may have very bad quality of vision, even if you are in 0 diopter. And for keratometry results after hyperopic treatment, if it is over 50, you may have keratoconus like ectasia, like corneal problems. This is 10-year follow-up of George Alio with -13.95 diopter, and they had very good results. And after 10 years of evaluation of these patients. And this is another study for a new device I designed with custom-made treatments. I have to go directly to high myopic cases like -9.5. As you see here, all myopic cases, 2020 is 94% of cases, low myopia 95, and high myopia over 6 diopters 91, and manifest refractive spherical equivalent is 76% after third month for low myopia, and high myopia 83%, which is very good comparable, and the results are stationary in 3-6 months. And there was only one eye lost 2 or more lines and result in the next visit. They had decentered flap in one case and retinal detachment in one eye. So for the hyperopia, few slides about hyperopia, it's a very challenging thing to do laser for hyperopic cases, but you cannot even implant phakic IOL to hyperopic cases because they don't have enough space in the anterior chamber. Maybe 10 or 5% of patients are suitable for this kind of surgery. And this 10% of cases may be, again, 10% except the operation for hyperopic cases. So we do less surgeries for hyperopia. And for LASIK, it's depending on preoperative keratometry, 50 diopter, or some people say 52, some say 48, depends on your experience. And for hyperopia, 1.2 diopter of steepening for every 1 diopter. It's very important for calculation. 0.7 or 8 diopter flattening for myopia. So in this case, 2 diopter of hyperopia. The patient has 49 diopter of keratometry, and at the end of surgery, when we make calculation, 51.4. So this is unacceptable. This is too much, so we cannot go laser surgery for 2 diopters. But in some cases, like 41 diopter of keratometry, we can go for 5 diopter or 6 diopter of hyperopia for LASIK. And there are some comparison of our friend Arthur Cummings in some diopters of hyperopia with the IOL surgery, clear lens surgery. You see in 1 to 3 diopter, there are almost no difference, manifest spheric equivalent. And 3 to 4, LASIK is doing better. And for 4 to 5 diopter, LASIK is far better than intraocular lens surgery. Why? Because the calculation is very difficult with for the high hyperopic cases. If you don't use the correct formula, like O4Q or some new formulas, you may end up with these results like this. So uncorrected distance visual acuity is better with the LASIK in his cases in all diopters. So the alternative LASIK is our first choice. Phakic IOS, refractive lens exchange, or advice against any kind of surgery. And the anterior chamber depth is very important, especially hyperopic cases. So these are the things that I have to talk about LASIK versus phakic IOS. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Λοιπόν, ήταν μια πολύ καλή αντιπαράθεση, γιατί όπως είδατε ακούσατε και πολλά αρνητικά, γιατί συνήθως όταν μιλάμε για τα θετικά, αλλά εδώ είπαμε πολλά αρνητικά. Σίγουρα η διόρθωση της υπερμετροπίας, όπως είδατε και από τους δυο, είναι πιο δύσκολη. Και είναι πιο δύσκολη γιατί υπάρχει περιορισμός στο λέιζερ, πάρα πολύ, μπορεί να χαλάσει την ποιότητα, όπως επίσης υπάρχει και μεγάλος περιορισμός, δεν ξέρω Ιορδάνη εσύ, αλλά εγώ έχω δει πάρα πολλούς υπερμέτροπες, πολύ λίγους βρήκα κατάλληλους να κάνουν είτε το ένα είτε το άλλο. Γιατί οι υψηλοί υπερμέτροπες έχουν μικρό μάτι, μικρό προστιοθάλμο και όπως είδατε και από τον καθηγητή, είπε ότι πολύ δύσκολα μπορείς να βάλεις έναν φακό που να έχει καλό βόλτ μέσα στο μάτι και να μην έχεις μπλοκάρισμα της γωνίας. Ειδικά στους υπερμέτροπες, στους μύοπες έχουμε καλύτερα αποτελέσματα, έτσι, και πολύ μεγαλύτερο πεδίο και στο λέιζερ και στο φακικό. Σίγουρα οι φακικοί έχουν τα θετικά τους, απαιτούν όμως και αυτοί προϋποθέσεις. Δηλαδή δεν σημαίνει ένας που δεν μπορεί να κάνει λέιζερ, σημαίνει ότι μπορεί να κάνει φακικό, μπορεί να μην μπορεί να κάνει ούτε το ένα ούτε το άλλο. Γι' αυτό πρέπει να είμαστε προσεκτικοί, γιατί είδαμε τα προβλήματα. Ερωτήσεις πάνω στο θέμα ποιος